Signs in the sun, moon, and stars. Mazzaroth Decoded, number 16. Welcome back, family. We are back, and we're going to dig back in. We're on Stellarium. Forgive me for the time gap. I had to take a trip to Southern California to visit my daughter, see my new grandbaby, and had a really, really good time. Thanks for all of your prayers. It was very amazing to see my first grandson and to see how healthy he's doing. And my daughter's doing wonderful, and she's back in Southern California. She was up in the Portland area and then up in Southern Washington, and it worked out for her to move back to our hometown of San Clemente. And she is doing great. So I just wanted to thank everybody for your prayers. It's been really wonderful, the entire experience with the trip, and everything that happened on the trip was sort of unbelievable. I did a little post in the community, and so if you want to know a little bit more about that, I posted that in community. I don't want to take up the time here to go into depth, but I did want to thank everybody for their prayers, and it was greatly appreciated. I am back at a friend's house where I can do a quick video, and I wanted to get back to the Mazzaroth decodes, and what we're looking at here is asteroid Vesnina aligning with the horn of Taurus. This is the Ephraim horn. This can be looked at as a anointing of the horn of Taurus. It's also can be associated with a judgment sign because Taurus is a judgment, a house of judgment. And we also have Jupiter still between the horns of Taurus. This can be seen as the king seated in the seat of the judge. And then we also can see asteroid Eunomia is sitting in the silver gate. There's not an alignment with Eunomia, so I haven't pulled up any codes for Eunomia, but you can see that there is um, uh, an alignment with Vesnina and Eunomia here, and we also see Eunomia is, like I said, in the silver gate, and that's very important. We'll be talking about that when Eunomia makes its next alignment coming up here in the next couple weeks. But we do have Jupiter sitting as king between the horns, and that is like the king seated in the uh, king's chair or the judgment seat. And again, we have Vesnina aligning with this Ephraim horn. So let's go ahead and take a look at the codes. I believe it's over here. This is asteroid Vesnina, and that equals the 11th month. A storm is coming. Judgment is coming. Lazarus, come forth. You are bride of Christ. In a blink of an eye. Atomic holocaust. The people rise, quantum leap. Apocalypse, plague. COVID is a hoax. Great Depression. Asteroid Apophis. Key to the abyss. Global earthquakes. The Anunnaki gods. Enoch, Elijah revived. A serpent-headed lion. And for those of you who do not know what that is a representation of, that is Yaldabaoth. Luciferase vaccines. And for those of you who have not looked into what that is, it's very important to understand the details. We don't want to get into that here, but I suggest that if you aren't familiar with what's going on there, that you take a look a little deeper. Rise now, meek and markets plunge prophecy. And this happened yesterday. This is asteroid Vesnina aligning with the horn of Taurus. I'm just going to start from yesterday and move forward. There's just one sign. Yesterday, and now we're moving into the 27th. Let's pull up my codes here. Our next one is Wade Sisler. And we have Wade Sisler on the 17th. On the 27th, sorry. Let's see. And that looks close enough. So we're looking at Wade Sisler aligning with Cetus, the great whale. This is another sign in the heavens pointing to the whale in heaven. We can also look at this as the sea serpent that is holding back the Pisces fish. And this is another important sign. We've been getting a bunch of signs in the head of Cetus. If you're a new subscriber, then I would go back and start with some of the earlier Mazzaroth decodes, and you can see as you go through the decodes, you'll watch. This is a daily affair, essentially, with the Mazzaroth decodes, and what we're doing is we're looking day by day and hour by hour. We're looking for the signs in the heavens, and this allows us to essentially watch a movie or a story of what's happening in the heavens, and it allows us to essentially be able to look up without having to have perfect weather or perfect stargazing. We can use this software Stellarium. There's other software out there that allows you to do this work, but it allows us to determine the signs that are in the sun, moon, and stars. And so what we're looking at here is the asteroids, also the comets. They all play a big role in telling the story in the heavens, and this was all set forth from the very beginning of creation. And we're looking at this story, or his story, playing out, and we were told to watch and to look up, and that the signs would be in the sun and the moon and the stars. And so we're looking at Wade Sisler here aligning with this great heavenly whale. And again, it can also be looked at as a sea serpent. And well, let's go look at the codes for Wade Sisler. This is asteroid Wade Sisler. It equals Operation Viper Strike, Stairway to Heaven, Christ Rapture Day, Decode Mary Magdalene Hint, The Dark Knight Rises, Decode Financial Crash Now, Deep State Obliterated, Information Warfare, Armageddon Survival, Seventh Trumpet, Being the Bride of Yeshua JC, Victory is the Name, Decode Terror Warning, Sword of Metatron. Vaccination is satanic. AI nanoweapon parasite. Again, family, this is not me putting any of this down. These are the equations to asteroid Wade Sisler, bringing forth equations that come from the codes. And this is what it's telling us, that the vaccination is satanic and it's an AI nanoweapon parasite. Born in January, reviving. Welcome to the kingdom of God. And that is an alignment happening today. That's asteroid Wade Sisler in the constellation of Cetus. And there's many ties right now to this constellation of Cetus because of all the signs that we have here in the Pisces constellation. And these two are essentially tied in a battle over the freedom of these two houses of the fish. And so we've been talking about all the signs in the eastern fish and how over the last uh, over 7 years, this is going on 8 years now. This has been presented to us in a very specific code that we've been breaking down. And so it's really important for us to keep watch over this area because there's so many signs going on. So this is a very important sign, as was asteroid Davida and the comets that were going through the head of the great beast. And we've been watching multiple signs with Cetus, and I think we're coming to a culmination here that we'll be talking about. This is Wade Sisler, and our next sign is Mimi. Let's see here. Okay, this is asteroid Mini, and it is entering into the temple of sacrifice in the Capricorn constellation. And we're going to go ahead and make alignment here. And we're looking at 8:51 tomorrow morning. This is a new asteroid find. This is Mini. And again, this is entering into the Capricorn house and the temple of sacrifice. This can also be looked at as death. And then again, the backside of the constellation is the temple of resurrection. This can also be looked at as the Giza Plateau, because there is a three pyramid combination here, and it's not depicted, but there is a third pyramid that is connected to the very end, and if you line those up, it actually shows you the offset lining of the pyramids. And you can see that here with this Capricorn constellation. If you turn the very tail of the fish, the three stars at the very, very end can be connected and made into a pyramid. And there you have the three pyramids, and one is offset. And we have an alignment here that we can use to uh, show the Giza Plateau, and also this is incorporated into the recent finds because we're looking at a temple complex, and they always looked at the center pyramid um, as the Great Pyramid, the larger one here, the very first one, and then you have two more pyramids after that. The second one being the actual Great Pyramid, where all the work was done. There's all kinds of things that have been found recently, and that's the work that I just connected a bunch of links in the community for you to go watch the other videos that I've been linking connected to all of these finds, and this asteroid aligning with this temple tomorrow morning plays a big role. Let's go pull up those codes. This is asteroid Amiamini, and it equals this is the end. Code fifth dimension. Like father, like son. Goddess Sophia. Pistis Sophia. If you don't know, those are books from the Nag Hammadi library, Pistis Sophia, and it's talking about the goddess Sophia who created Yaldabaoth. And I believe it's very important for all of us to read these books. They're non-canonical. They come from a time when Christianity was new, and they are all playing a big role, as these were all hidden documents. They hid them away from the Roman beast religion, and that way that they could be brought back at the right time. And I believe this is the decoding of the Daniel scriptures when it says knowledge will increase, and then these things would be revealed. And so we're now able to literally read hundreds of different books between the Nag Hammadi and all the additional books that have been found all over the planet, really. And then also the Dead Sea Scrolls and the hidden works that are coming to light there. And so I always suggest do your due diligence and read them and pray over them. And um, I pray that you would gain wisdom from those. And then we have Observatory. And this was really special to me because this is a project that I am beginning. And I was essentially nudged that it was time for me to develop this plan out. In the ancient times, the most important part of doing this kind of work was an observatory. And I believe that this is an important part of what we're doing for the body of Messiah. And I think that it's important for people to learn how to observe the sun, moon, and stars. And I believe this will allow us to go to the next level, and we can actually have a ranch where during the summer we can teach classes, and we can do actual observation with telescopes, and we can really hunt the stars, because the area I'm looking is it's a part of the Oregon Dark Sky Sanctuary, and I've been all over the United States, and I've never seen anywhere in my life like the area where I'm going to be looking. The stars literally feel like you could reach out and touch them. And if we have telescopes up there, and a Mazzaroth Research Center, we can really do some great work, and we can teach people how to do this kind of work for themselves. And then this work will really take off, and people will all be able to add in together. And I think that's how the future can really help those who do come to Christ and can access the information, because we can be showing, for as long as possible, the end time signs, and what we're all to be looking for through that period. And I believe I'm supposed to at least initiate that process, and I would ask all of you to join me in that uh, project. So I will be posting on that very soon. We're going to start a funding platform specifically for that. And I would love to have all of you come out sometime and join us at the observatory. It shouldn't take us that long to get it set up, because they're actually very inexpensive to have a small observatory set up, and the properties that I'm looking at are really, really inexpensive properties because they're out in the middle of nowhere. So we should be able to do this in short order and have a possible project up and running by summer. So I will post on that more. And our next code is install bread of life. Release the Kraken. Babylon is falling. Economic collapse. April 14. The 13th. Asteroid Hekate. Um, I recognize that it's spelled slightly different, but I pulled this up here because of my studies in ancient religions. I immediately saw that word and was like, oh, well, I know who that is. And so I wanted to post all of this information. I'm going to go ahead and set a link. But I think it's very telling and very important for us to dig into this. This is very important. When I got to this Egyptian part, which is the thing that I think applies the most. Here we have the Egyptian, a possible theory of a foreign origin for the name may be Heket. This is a frog-headed Egyptian goddess of fertility and childbirth, who, like Hekate, was also associated with the ruler. The word Heka in the Egyptian language is also both the word for magic and the name of the god of magic and medicine, Heka. And so we won't really go much deeper, but I'm going to ask you to dig into that, because I've done my studies in all these ancient religions, and I could, boy, oh boy, I could go off right here. But I don't want to go into the rabbit hole too much, and so I'm going to connect this dots for you. And I think it's important to understand who we're dealing with here and why it's pointing to this code, because let's see here. This is asteroid Hecate, and although it's spelled slightly different, if you actually go to this asteroid, let's go here, and I just want to point this out really quick. If you go to this Wikipedia that's connected to this asteroid that's at the foot of Virgo family, it immediately connects to the goddess Hekate, which is the actual goddess Heka. You have to go back to the ancient, and so once we go back to this ancient time, we're talking about this um, Heka, and or you can call it Heket, but the actual word Heka is where all of this comes from, and you can go and do your research. As I said, I will be bringing that forward, but we're looking at this asteroid being right here at the foot of Virgo, and this is also a new find based on these codes. So it's very, very important for us to keep watch over all of these asteroids because they're playing a big role and they're telling a great story of what we're seeing in the heavens. So we just saw Amiamini in the Capricorn temple. Again, that can be seen as death and sacrifice, and it can also be a warning of tribulation, trials, temptation, all of the things that are associated with that side of sacrifice and death. And then now we're going to go to Apostle. This is our next sign on the 28th, and this is amazing, family. Oh, it's just amazing to see this kind of stuff. When you really, when you've been watching this stuff for as long as I have, sometimes you're just waiting for things like this. Because there's such strong language. We'll just make it 1118. And what we're looking at here is asteroid Apostle aligning up with the club of Orion. This is in the center of the Silver Gate. This is a very, very important part of the heavens that we've talked about a lot. It's called the Silver Gate, and it is between the horns of Taurus and the Castor constellation. You can see the Milky Way flows directly through this section of the heavens, and the Club of Orion is immediately in the center, and here we have the Apostle lining up with the Club of Orion. Let's go look at the codes for asteroid Apostle. Calm before the storm, Father the messenger, trumpets, the great disappearance, found the bride of me, God, the crucified Messiah, the serpent bearer, son of perdition, Messiah return, dedication to Christ, I accept the atonement, the real bride of Christ, rapturous day, set the great escape, the CERN catastrophe, believers removed, Chinese dragon has risen. It's a rare birth of time, enslaved to the matrix. And you just cannot make these things up. This is just it's almost too much when you add the codes, because this is the sign right here of the escape of the bride. We can be seen as the apostles, and we are actually going to be the club of Orion. We come back with Messiah after the wedding feast, and that is when the war really goes into full effect. If you have studied your ancient Israelite wedding customs, then you'll realize that a bridegroom, he did not go to war or leave his bride for a whole year. And we can see that in the Code of Esther, because there was a 6 month feast thrown by the king, and then that code would have been duplicated for the new bride, Esther. And so we can see that as a 1 year code, also matching the purification of Esther, and that code ends tomorrow. And so we could have another year period where there is 6 months of the wedding feast, and then there is another 6 month waiting period before the the called out ones, or the bride of Christ and Christ, return to the planet, and there becomes a great war in the heavens, and there becomes a great battle. You can look at this as the two witnesses. There are a lot of people who mistake that, and they pin it on two individuals instead of looking at it as the spirit, like when Christ said that if you can accept it, then John the Baptist comes in the spirit of Elijah. And so if you can accept it, then we, the bride of Christ, will be coming as two houses, the house of Elijah, and some say Moses. I say it's Enoch and Elijah. Um, but there's a great debate. It could be Moses and Enoch, because if Elijah came back as John the Baptist, then we have Enoch that is still to come. And some say that Moses never died, that he was also taken. There's not a lot of proof with any of those things. So we can't really say. We haven't found the tomb of Moses. There's lots of conjecture out there, but there is no tomb of Moses. And so until that day comes when they actually have the proven tomb of Moses, he also may have been taken before they crossed over into the land of Israel. And so there's a lot of conjecture there. There's stories, but we don't have a lot of detail. And there are stories that he never died. So the more you read, the more doors are opened, and leaves a lot of room for um, there being another side of the story. So here we can see that this apostle is pointing to the constellation of Orion. Again, Orion is also a sign of judgment. This is seen as Christ, the mighty judge. Orion is a picture of Messiah who comes back as the final judge, and he has the judgment tool in his hands, also associated with Taurus. And he is the one who essentially stops the bull from rushing forward. And some say that he is connected to the bull. And so we also see on the opposite side of Orion, we see Ariga, and I believe that those are connected signs, that we see Messiah as the shepherd and Messiah as the conqueror. And those are on both sides of the Silver Gate. And then if we look at this as a cornerstone, a four-sided plate, we can see the house of judgment, Taurus, and Christ can be seen also as Taurus the judge. We can see Orion as the conqueror. We can see Ariga as the shepherd. And then in the constellation of Gemini, we have the ancient bride and bridegroom. And in the more modern depiction, you have the heavenly brother and the earthly brother. And this can also be a sign associated with the that above and below, and the connection of Christ having come to the earth, and him also having his seat in heaven. So this can be the dual picture of Pollux being Christ seated in heaven, and Castor being Christ who came on the earth. And so all four of these signs can be a depiction of Christ seated in the Silver Gate on the Milky Way. And all of these are really important signs. And then our last sign here is Hygeia. And we have, let's see, hopefully it'll come up. What we're going to have to do is run this back. Because what I have to do is I have to find the comet, because I'm still using this Stellarium software. So we're going to have to do this really quick and hunt down the comet. Hopefully it shows up. There we go. Okay, so now what we can do is we can watch 323P Soho, and we're going to line up with Hygeia, and we can see that here. So that's about right here, right in this zone. We have the alignment of 323P Soho and asteroid Hygeia. And let's go ahead and look at the codes for Hygeia. Asteroid Hygeia equals the apocalypse, the planet Pluto, the reptilian queen bee, Prince of Wales. Behold the pale horse, a fire dragon year, the Hellfire Club, the New Babylon, Baroque lightning, mark of beast, Catholic false prophets, coming to America, rising of Sirius, pearly gates, the blood of a goat. Now remember, we just saw that sign in Capricorn. Quantum dot. We also just saw the signs for the Luciferase, and if you're not familiar with the quantum dot, that's connected to the Luciferase. Serpent's poison, and I believe that's connected to this quantum dot, the Luciferase, the vaccinations, and the coming great deception. We saw it in the stage 1 of COVID, but now we're about to see the what I believe is the real game. That was a test run, and I believe we're about to see the true serpent's poison. Red Horse Rider. China attacks the U.S. We're getting signs, family, and we need to pay attention to those signs. This is 323P Soho and Hygeia aligning in the Lamb. Aries, this is another very important sign. If you remember back, we were watching 323P Soho align with the sun. And we can just track this comet back, and you can see that it was literally occulted by the sun. And this was on the same day of the blood moon eclipse, family. So we have a very important comet here, and it's transitioning through space, and then we have it aligning with Hygeia. And we can see that this is in the constellation of Aries. And if you notice the constellation, let's just go ahead and get it upright. Okay, you can see here that this alignment is happening directly over the head of Cetus, the great sea beast. And so we're seeing signs that are pointing us to a war in heaven, and we're getting all of these signs of the great escape, the escape of the bride, the rapture date, and the rapturous signs, and all of these things are associated with the escape of the bride. And we need to stay aware. As many of you know, we've been tracking the code of Esther, and the end of the 28th is the end of the purification of the bride, and that makes the bride ready to be brought into the king's house. And then again, we have all of these things that were shown to us within the Equilux codes and all of those. So essentially, tomorrow evening after sunset, we are in a position where the bride is ready. The bridegroom is ready. and we're just waiting for the Father to say it's time. And I just posted about the Enochian Exodus Purim, and that happens on April 1st and 2nd. So April Fools!